Hi, everybody. Melissa here. And today's practice is a radical self acceptance meditation and journaling exercise. And so we're going to keep this short. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so to review the content that we'll be going over today, we're going to start by talking a little bit about what self acceptance is. Because one, when how you feel, and two, who you feel you are changes almost every 2 weeks, it can be challenging to accept yourself. So, why might we want to do that? And then with our meditation, we are going to practice doing that a little bit with a really simple meditation on this idea of soham. I am that. And so we'll get into that a little bit more later. And then, of course, we're going to complete with a journal exercise. And so we'll have some questions that we can take our time on. You don't have to finish them in our practice today. These questions will be getting us to think about self acceptance and how we can try to work some more of that into our life. And then, of course, at the end of our practice, I will end our recording and the group of us will be able to have our share and care so we can discuss maybe what we've learned, what came up for us, and maybe what we are going to do with some of the information we've obtained from today's practice. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about what this self-acceptance thing is. Okay. And so, knowing that we're cyclical people, that we're going to shift, finding a way to ground ourselves in the truth of who we are can be a radical act for self preservation. And this radical act is really necessary so that we can persevere as a person with PMDD and not just be bogged down in our symptoms. And so that can be extra challenging because we're PMDD people. And that also means that we may have to work a little bit harder, and why we should definitely stay in our practice and continue to do that work, honor the fact that we maybe need a little bit more love, a little bit more tenderness, and that compassion really has to start from within. And so you don't have to just take my word for it. I am also going to share some expert opinions on the matter. And so Audre Lorde, Bell Hooks, and Brene Brown are three fantastic writers who have talked a lot about self-acceptance, especially around identity. And so I love, love, love this quote from Bell Hooks. If I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies for me and eaten alive. And oh, I just love that imagery, because what Audre Lorde is saying is that her life will literally be diminished. She will be eaten alive if she doesn't hold those boundaries around who she is, defining herself and accepting herself as she is without other people needing to dictate that for her. And now I think Bell Hooks kind of takes this idea a little bit further and really ties it to our ability to find self love and create self love in a personal setting and in a community setting. And so Bell Hooks says, when we can see ourselves as we truly are and accept ourselves, we build the necessary foundation for self love. Whether we learn how to love ourselves and others will depend on the presence of a loving environment. Self love cannot flourish in isolation. So before we're even trying to be totally amazingly in love with ourselves, we have to start by accepting ourselves. These are the struggles that are personal to me. These are my burdens to carry in my life. And that doesn't diminish my life in any way. And so we are going to continue to talk about that and continue to build on that idea with our meditation about reaching that place of self love through self acceptance. And I love what Brene says here. Because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world, our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self acceptance. For PMDD people, that is so, so crucial, because if we don't accept our premenstrual disorder, if we are not advocating for ourselves, who in the world is going to do that? No one is going to make room for us in the life that we need to live unless we show up for ourselves. And so, again, we don't have to do it every day. We don't have to do it perfectly, but building that path, starting with self acceptance, working towards self love, working towards a supportive and flourishing community, it all begins with our relationship to ourself. And so that can feel a little intimidating because sometimes it maybe feels like a lot of responsibility. But with all of these quotes and with this practice, you will see that it's not meant to be an immediate thing. This is a path and a practice that we're walking on, a practice that we will continue to nourish and grow. And that with this effort towards self acceptance, we help to grow our effort towards self love and greater community care. Sounds kind of lofty, but I think it's the truth. And so let's go ahead and jump right into the meditation now. This meditation is quite brief, but quite deep. So let's go ahead and find your favorite comfortable seated position and think about extending your spine upwards from the bottom. So wherever your bottom is placed, think about reaching upward and getting just a little bit taller. And now we are going to use a mudra for this meditation. And so go ahead and start by taking your hands in front of you. And then we're going to interlace our fingers, palms face towards us, with our left pinky finger on the bottom. And now your thumbs can extend outward. And then we'll just take our hands and your elbows can relax in against your sides. Your palms can shine up towards your face. This is Vajra Pradama Mudra, our gesture of unshakable trust. And so, as you sit nice and tall here, take a moment to settle into stillness. If you need to, begin by moving your jaw and tongue, open and close your eyes, whatever it takes for you to kind of comfortably let go. As you begin to settle, follow the gentle flow of your breath for just a few moments here, watching it slowly fill and empty you. See if you can continue to observe your breath while allowing it to flow smoothly and easily with little effort. Now imagine as though your upturned palms were a mirror that revealed your most essential self. Reflected in this mirror, you see yourself as you truly are. Ageless, timeless, eternally expansive, and entirely whole in your complexity. As you witness this most essential self, say to yourself mentally or out loud, I am that. So hum, I am that. Breathing in the sound mentally or out loud, think so. Exhaling, releasing the sound mentally or out loud, hum. I am that. So hum. So hum. Continuing to repeat the mantra, so hum. I am that, mentally or out loud, for 3 more rounds. Let's take one more round of so hum, and then we'll complete our meditation with the sound of Om. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, and then exhaling to sigh it out of your mouth. We'll do that once more, taking a deep breath in through the nose, and then we'll exhale Om. Inhale Om. Slowly open your eyes and look down at your hands. We'll release our fingers now, and we'll bring the fingers together. Turning the palms upwards, still here, we'll now take our thumbs to the base of our pinky fingers, and then we'll join the tips of the pinky finger and ring finger together. Relax your elbows against your sides and take your palms at about the level of your sternum. This is our gesture of heartfelt acceptance, Avahana Mudra. Thinking to yourself mentally, I accept and allow that I am. So hum, I am that. I accept and allow that I am. Bringing your palms together now in Anjali Mudra, our prayer position in front of the heart. Bow your heads to your heart momentarily in reverence to our highest, most sacred self, our most essential self. I'm grateful for this time that we have spent together working on self-acceptance. We can honor one another with Namaste. All right, and so as we come back, you can take just a moment if you want to stretch a little bit or if you want to drink some water, go ahead and do so. And then we're going to move right into our journal questions. And so I will post these. You don't have to get all of them down, but I want to make sure that we have some time to talk about them before we do our discussion. And so our first set of questions is, why is self-acceptance important? So I shared with you what some experts said. I shared with you my opinion. We did the meditation. But why might self-acceptance be important to you? And more so than that, why might it be considered radical? And now, our last question on this slide is, do you believe greater self acceptance can help to foster a greater sense of belonging, as Brene Brown said? Why or why not? And again, we can share our answers when we do the discussion portion. So if you don't get everything down, you can make some bullet points. Um, you don't have to write a big essay or anything like that. This is not being graded. All right, and so we'll move on to our next slide. And again, you'll have these later to look at. So don't worry if you don't get everything down today, or right now, rather. All right, and so our second set of journal questions: in what ways may you have trouble accepting yourself? And if you have some issues with that, how is that impacting your life? And then as you kind of work through that, what three words would you use to describe how a lack of self acceptance feels? Because it's probably not super comfortable. Now, once we've kind of worked through some of the ways we may be lacking self acceptance, we, of course, want to celebrate how we do accept ourselves. So we also want to answer, in what ways do I accept myself? And how does this impact my life? Because there can be some really, really great things that come from that. Maybe even some nuggets of wisdom that you will be able to share with us as a group later. And so, talking about how self acceptance may be impacting your life, and then also three words to describe how it does feel to accept yourself. Again, our thesis is that it probably feels pretty good, but that might not be true. I think it is. And so, again, get some bullet point answers down. You can spend some more time journaling this later. As I said, these PDF or the slide deck will be available as a PDF for you to reference later. All right. And so go ahead and wrap up wherever you are. I know we went really fast through those journal questions, but like I said, we have the opportunity to discuss them now. And so now it's time for our share and care. So I'm going to go ahead and end our recording. Let me just do my very last slide. Thank you. I love you. And I would like you to know that I accept you. And I hope that you can take this revolutionary, radical step to care for yourself and accept yourself as you are, because truly it will benefit everybody the more we are able to cultivate that feeling within. And so let's go ahead and jump into our discussion. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions or comments and you are not watching live right now, please go ahead and let me know. Send me a message. I would love to hear from you. All right. Thank you so much.